1831, of course, to those who love dates. Now listen to this thing. The name Ephesus. It means that which is pleasing. Pleasing. So this period of the church was pleasing. The church was stainless with the zeal of preaching the gospel. That's the church during this period. Are we together now? That's the church in the time of what? Of Ephesus. Because we take name zoom in. Now there's another church. Smyrna, powerful church. Very powerful. The word Smyrna, it means great presence. No. Fragrance. Sweet fragrance. Sweet fragrance. Now I want us to understand quickly. How do one get fragrance? How do you get a fragrance? Namhlanje we smell good because sifake a fragrance. But how do you get that? For you to get that, you must press. Then there's a fragrance. You must press. Then there's a smell. Without pressing, there is no smell. So the word smell means that which was pressed and it gave out sweet smell. It is the time of great persecution within the church of God. But the more they were persecuted, they gave sweet fragrance. It was an era in the church where every announcement, every Sabbath, every announcement, an elder will stand there and say, I am here to announce sad news of the passing of Sister so and so. I am here to announce the passing of brother so and so, because there were persecution. But the more they were persecuted, the more they were cleaving to the Lord. So there were a sweet fragrance, because in spite of persecution, they were cleaving. That's the period. Then we have another period. We have another period. We have another period, which is Thyatira. Very nice, powerful church. Very powerful. At this time, kwakungena izikhulu ebandleni likaThixo. Only the powerful will come to church. Those who have a social status, they will be converted to the church. Now, here is the challenge. With the conversion of those who have a social status in the church, came along compromise in the church. I don't know when I have to tell. Are we together now? Because we want Mayor so and so to be converted and be the member of the church. For Mayor so and so to be a member of the church, let us drop the standards and compromise. Did I say that? Can I say it again? People who are powerful these days are politicians. When we see a politician so and so, want to associate himself with the church, we tend to drop the standards. Compromising church. To accommodate a certain class of people in the church, so that as the church, oh you, senior politicians, powerful, but the standards. Did I say that? That's the period. That was the period. Then there's Pergamos. Pergamos. Elevated. The church now, because we have politicians, we have people with social status, then the church was elevated. The church was given a status. In the process of the church being given a status, its standards are dropping. And in fact, I'm going to get. Now, I want you to understand something about the period. The period does not suggest that which happened in the past and that ruler.
This does not mean that we have
but in the present church.
All these characteristics are found where you
all these
we don't say Pergamos as past.
The problem that we have, at least there was Pergamos. At least there was Pergamos. At least there was Thyatira. The challenge we have today, we have all in one. We have compromising church. We have a church that seeks to be elevated. This is the church heritage, the spiritual journey. Now, because of the compromise, the elevation, then comes Sardis. Then comes what? Sardis, of course, is the period when you read it in your church heritage. The Thyatira, this period started with Dark Age period, and but there's something interesting that I want. This is where I want to zoom. This is where I want to zoom. Remember, I said I will say that, then I will zoom. Now listen. Now remember, compromising. Elevated. This is the period. This is the period where we had an emperor, a member of the church. Constantine. So as the sisters, they are there in history, but they're in the spiritual heritage. Now we read it in history, but we do not connect them with the spiritual heritage. Now, during this period, between Thyatira and Sardis, Thyatira, Pergamos, Sardis, elevation in the society. Oh, now emperor. You as elevator. We don't only have the member of the parliament within our ranks, but we have the chairperson of the parliament within our ranks.
What else do you want?
But that did not come without a compromise. We have to baptize this man. We have to baptize this man. Who can baptize a president? Because even non-fundis is the subject of the president. Then the issue, case 5. Rather than the president go to water, let the water come to the president. I don't know when I ever read the detail.
Are we together now?
I don't know when I ever read the
Do
detail.
you understand this problem now?
Another one. There was a session. There was a session. The Greeks came. The Jews said we are not going.
We're not going to
A meeting.
say the uncircumcised in the meeting.
There was a session. Time to elect. The Gentiles were like, no one can lead the president. As never sent Nene no president.
We cannot be in the same house.
Nominate someone on the subject of the president. Then the emperor entered. The church was once led by the emperor because of the compromise. Because of the elevation, the status received. Dark age period. During his leadership, that is where we get the doctrine where Christ's nature was questioned. He cannot be the Son and be equal with the Father. During the time, Thyatira, Pergamo, Sardis, in the history of the church, you cannot read the history of the church and not read about Constantine. Why he's part of the heritage of the church. Now listen to this thing. He's the president. He's also the leader of the Christian. Now here is the issue. He cannot take sides. But the empire in the process is being divided. Because the people who are challenging the nature of Christ are his subjects. Then he then said, okay, I am calling a council where all the priests will come. This period, I will call all the priests, all the pastors to come who will be discussing the nature of Christ. That is 351. That is the beginning of the nature of Christ.
That's where troubles began.
And in
We did not get this one.
when we have people currently who are questioning the nature of Christ, where does this come from? It comes in the period of time within the church where we say that
where we compromise. That's where it's coming from. It's not new.
and if I'm
I'm going to say it
and I
again.
will say it again, even currently, presently, where it mushrooms the most is where the standards of the church have been lowered. Did I say it? That's where it comes from. Where we compromised the standard of the church. And now listen to this thing, very much powerful. 451, 351,
ngo-351
the council,
kwabizwa
the debate, back and forth. The other say he is God. The other say he is the Son of God. There were two champions. Athanasius and Arius. Arius. Where we get the doctrine of Arianism. It comes from Arius. Arius was standing firm. He cannot be a son and said to be equal. If he is the son, he is then a subordinate of God. Then Athanasius on the other hand, he says, no, you are mistaken. The son is in relation to salvation. He is equal with the Father. Now listen to this thing. Listen to this thing. In that period, it went to a vote. Athanasius lost. For more than a decade or two. In fact, from 451 until 381 until 381, 3 decades, the church believes that Jesus is a subordinate of God. Because the one who was standing on the equality,
the one who said that Christ is God. I'm going to say it again.
Before issues of discussion were decided on the Spirit of God. But when we have compromised the standard, now issues of debate are no longer decided upon what the Spirit says, but are decided upon what the vote says. This is the period in church.
Are we together in this?
We are talking church heritage. Church heritage.
Are we together now, church?
Now listen.
Mamela.
Then 381.
One writer commenting upon this says,
a period where a church was in apostasy. A period where the church was heretic.
I'm going to say it again.
Over one doctrine that is based on Christ. When we missed that one, every other doctrine
they become lies. Because all of them, they are based upon this one.
So the church, upon missing the doctrine of Jesus, they became heretics.
When the church worships lies.
But where does this come from?
The
church compromised. The church wanted a social class, social status, wanted to be recognized. Then there was a dark age.
And then it was darkness.
But who
were the cause of this darkness?
The church. I will say this thing.
I'm going to pass by. Don't mention that I said
listen
it.
to this thing.
You remember Israel?
A loser in Faz.
When they actually lost the game. between the Philistines. And then they took the Ark of the Covenant.
Why did they lose the battle?
Why
did they lose the battle? The nation of God lost the battle. Now listen to this thing. Not only was the nation beaten, but also the Ark of the Covenant was taken. And the Ark of the Covenant stands for the presence of God. So even God himself was exiled. But the question is, why? Go read chapter 3. God speak to Samuel. He says, Mamela, listen. This is what I will do to the house of El. Because he has failed to discipline. He does not discipline his own. I will deal with him. As God deals with Eli, as he deals with the failure of Eli to discipline his kids, the entire nation
but the main cause, it was Eli and his friends.
So, as the church of God, when we fail God, when we compromise God, the entire world is
Are we together in this?
Now, now
I've been shown the time.
Now,
because we have been shown that we have been time, let us quickly.
Now, okay, I've said 5 minutes left. And the challenge
is just one.
Once if we miss time,
everything that follows becomes messed up. So we need to be careful on time.
So because of that, let me come
now we're going to summarize everything. Now we are thinking, what should we leave out and what we should include in this summary?
Remember I said, there is no way where we can present this church heritage, justice within an hour or two. Fortunately, you can't meeting in mind workshop.
In the camp meeting, we are just giving you a 40 so that you can go back to your church. Now you go back and actually teach. We understand this thing.
It's fine, eh? So fortunately, we do have pastors. They will go after this camp meeting.
And then they're going to go into the churches and teach this thing.
Is that fair? Okay. Let me take that hand, that is over to someone.
Will you give your 3 minutes because it's my immediate profession?
Okay, matiknike ngoku sisi. Because la 5 minutes uphakanyiswe so zephinde kutsho hayi konenye 3 minutes.
Yes.
So thetha njengoba.
Here's one. Saying stuff about how to compromise.
Yes.
Here's my question. In what? Chapter about steps to Christ, where Ellen White says, minister to them. Yes, sir. Yes. Meaning people of status. And if we are co-laborers with Christ, both the rich and the poor need salvation. How best do we approach that as Seventh-day Adventist Church? I'm here with my neighbor, she's come to join the church. So we need to also be equipped with that to look like as if we are people who are territorial about our ministry as Adventists, we also aware how to reach to them because both the rich, the poor, abandoned status, abangenazo, bonke bayafuneka. I'm also with a colleague who's a non-Adventist, who's also working with me. They're interested in coming to us, but I'll be frank, basithatha kongathi sine barrier to people of status, but if we need funds and other stuff from these people, we are accommodated. What is the best approach as co-laborers of tribes to bring this gospel in view of what Singa compromisanga and think thanks my past?
Okay, that question is powerful. Now, I want you to understand. I want you to understand. When we speak of compromise within the church, we are not so much referring to those who are. I would use it loosely. With us. Compromise happens within the church.
Even before we interact with others.
Now, maybe just a simple example so that you understand that the issue is not really those who are outside. Compromise happens. We have families that have heavy surnames in the church. They are born here. When they speak about themselves, they say we are the fourth, we are the fifth, we are the what generation of the church. So in other words, when you speak with me, to me, yes,
you should know who you are speaking to.
And the church, when they are dealing with those fourth, third, fifth generation, they are not dealing with them as the people who are first generation. So there's compromise. I will tell you something. This thing it's equal.
The church, this church we are in, it is made to look hard. It is those who've been here for too long. It is made
who have been converted. So all of us, at some point in time, the church has to compromise. So there's basically balance. The standard must be kept. Those who are born, those who are converted, for those who have a social standard when they come, we must not tamper with the standard.
Are we together in this? We're going to say when we summarize.
With brief South African history.
Just 1 minute.
Umoko got converted, became the first black pastor. Went to Cape Town. From Kimberley, went to Cape Town. Then they came up Omoko. No drunken fun, drunken. They came to Grahamstown. There was a church there.
We are just going
from Grahamstown. They left, came to Bethel Mission. Let's now take about the development around the Bethel Mission. They went down to Kangele.
Are we together?
Then we're going to talk about. I was going to come closer to.
This is our soldier again.
Unfortunately, as I have said, we do not have enough time.
Amen. May the good Lord bless you. Amen. Let us